He literally just sent that 12 seconds ago. Okay. Hey, what's up, Sean?
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
I'm alive. And yourself?
Good. Do you own any GameStop?
No. What's up with that?
So I guess there was a...
What your thoughts are on that?
Well, my thoughts about it is I think it would be amusing more than it is if I knew that it wasn't likely somebody's 401k and pension fund that just went down the drain for whatever that hedge fund was trading. Yeah, that it would be a bit more funny because it's... I mean, it's interesting that you know, people could manipulate the stock or whatever to get to that point, but wow, it dropped a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, this morning it's at 77%, waiting to go up.
Yeah, well, but the again, so they tanked a hedge fund, and I guess I'd have to look at the hedge fund to know what it was trading on, but rarely does anybody in the hedge fund actually own the money they're trading. They're making a lot of money off of it, that's for sure, but it's not when you kill that money for that hedge fund, it's not the hedge fund hurting. It's the people who have invested, which is usually people that are just middle class workers working on building a 401k or have a pension fund or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of sad in that regards. If you take that aside, then it's kind of funny, but
it doesn't make sense because GameStop, I feel like, is following the pattern of Blockbuster's story, in which it's finding a hard time being relevant in an ever-evolving digital age, and so like I know they don't make hella money, but if you look at the past, I think 6 months, it's been like, it hasn't really been going down. it has like just modest growth, and then like within the past, I think within the past like
3 days,
2 weeks. No, it's
oh yeah,
it started on January 12th. It started being aggressive, and then it spiked like 3 or 4 days ago.
And that's because of this Reddit or whatever, where they looked for short positions that people were taking, and they targeted it so that those people that had the short had to cover it, which is an expensive thing to do, and is what tanked the hedge fund. So it was like a $13 billion hedge fund, and I guarantee that wasn't all rich people's money. Probably a fair amount of it was, but not a lot of it. Most of it was probably people like, me, who've got money sitting out there for retirement. So, but that's the thing, is people tend to think only one layer deep from where they are. They don't think about that 2-layer deep. Like, if I affect this person, who am I affecting on the other side? And there's some other situation where people were doing this, and it bothered me, but I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's they
Oh,
have
yeah. What if it was your 401k or pension fund? Sure.
yeah, but the thing is I like to be held accountable for managing my own money. Just because someone wears a suit doesn't mean that they should take my money and do what they feel with it. There's certain things I feel like I should be responsible for, and like the question of, well, yeah, but do you have a finance degree? Have you made the mistakes that these hedge funds managers have made, so that you actually have wisdom, experience? The answer is no. I don't have that, but I feel like there's certain responsibility that you should know the fundamentals or the basics of investing instead of like there's a couple things, right? um just things that revolve around being alive and being a human being. There's certain things that you should really have a firm understanding on, and it's health, it's sexual attraction, and it's money. Like those are things that you should really own. It- that's my philosophy, and I actually derived that from John Simons in one of his videos from like 4 years ago. But it made sense. It's like there's certain things that my personal belief is you shouldn't defer 100% to somebody else. Like you should really own it and understand it, at least the basics. So
Yeah, but
like
that's not exactly like feasible for most people, and it's not kind of what's sold to you when you're buying into with a pension fund. I don't know if you have much choice, to be honest, in where the money goes and how it's like you have somebody who's trying to be a steward of that. Um, but with a 401k, you're kind of sold this thing like, well, yeah, your money is there and it's at risk, which it is in the marketplace anyways, but over time it goes up and stuff like that. And again, it's like I agree with you that you should be, you know, in terms of your personal budgeting and investments, yeah, you should be all over that. I don't have great sympathy for people who go great into debt for reasons that are under their control. And then, get mad when they can't get out of it. Like,
so, GZB has a difference of opinion regarding you. Hey, GZB,
oh,
what's up?
hey, I didn't realize we are getting comments already.
I didn't either. Apparently, he was commenting for the past like 7 minutes or so, but um, it's not all billionaires' money in hedge funds. it's it.
Pension funds aren't secured. I don't know where they get that. I'm pretty sure they're not secured. They're invested by a pension fund manager or whatever. But it's 401ks or pension funds are so limited now. 401ks are really one of the largest sources of capital where that's getting invested in the market. And yes, that's not secure. You lose that money. You lose that money. Now, I don't know the particular cases of this particular hedge fund, or any hedge fund that lost money on this effort likely didn't lose. I mean, yeah, that one or two hedge fund managers or the people not to mention the people who work there that are just normal people that aren't the ones making the big bucks, probably lost their jobs, but they're likely spending your 401k money if you're like a middle class person like me. And yeah, it's probably not fair that if they do a short squeezes to try to make a buck or whatever.
I was going
Yeah.
to say, why is it okay if they play the system? If why is it okay if they have special wires that make trades 10 milliseconds faster than everybody else? Why is it okay for them to have the edge, but common people they just researched what they were doing and decided to play it as well. Like, why is it wrong for normal folks that own an E-Trade account to play the game? Like, I don't understand why, if it's these huge elite multi-billion, half-trillion-dollar companies, then no one has an issue with them manipulating the system. But if Joe Smo does it, oh, that's the issue.
Well, I mean, they do have an issue with them manipulating the system. That's why there's a thing called the SEC that regulates that kind of stuff.
Well, regulates what? How many people like me consistently lose money in the stock market, and how many of these financial institutions just heads over fists, whatever that phrase is, just they rarely see a quarterly loss based on their automated algorithms.
Yeah, I know that shorting is 100% legal, and I'm sure squeezing is too. But it's yeah. I'm not saying that is. I'm saying that it's, if you take 2 steps away from where you're sitting, you're looking at the hedge fund manager, thinking this guy who's making billions of dollars, this is all his money that he's investing, and it's not. It's
I agree with you on that.
401ks of people that are like just normal people. So
yeah, but I don't feel bad. I think it's just a reality check that just because you give your money to people in suits doesn't mean that your money is safe. I mean, that reality check was recognized in the Great Recession in 2008, 2010, and so there's a couple of things, man. Like, I have very strong views. Like, you can't be and maybe you and I have debated this, but like, you can't be a financial advisor if you're not a millionaire. Like, you can't. Like,
oh, sure,
how
you
can
can,
I spend my money and you're not a millionaire? Like, so people disagree with me on that, but it's like, okay, you have a finance degree, but your personal finances, you're not there. So I take with what you say as a grain of salt, right? I'm not attacking you. I'm talking about someone that markets themselves as a financial advisor. That's your money to invest, right?
yeah, they tend not to be the ones. Well, you're going in and out now. I hope I might have lost you, but
Nope.
oh, you're back. Most financial advisors, though, are people that are telling you to invest in for retirement, like, and how to get your retirement nest egg set up. They're not going to be millionaires and billionaires by definition, because they're not the ones, like, their work isn't such that they would have that amount of money. Just like no matter how hard I try, unless I sit down and strap down and don't buy anything and don't do anything and just save for the next 10 years, I'm not going to be a self sustaining millionaire, or what's a self-sufficient,
Self-made.
yeah, whatever that, I can't remember the term is. I'm just not going to be. I have but that doesn't make me poor with money or anything like that. But yeah, I look at the points people are making, but the reality is, again, like, you're 2 step removed from people who just lost a lot of their livelihood or their potential for retirement, and that's sad. I don't care what you think about whether it was fair or not fair.
I think it's a lesson.
Yeah, well,
like, I mean, I have a hard time on empathy because, like, people should just know that. I'll keep saying it. Give your money to people. It doesn't mean that you're safe. And
yeah, so we shouldn't invest. So people should stick their money under the mattress and not invest and not put it in any sort of a saving account, because somebody else has control of your money.
no, I'm not. I understand your point. I'm just saying that people should take time and practice, at the very least, whatever that means, um, managing their money, right? To exercise, and we all know people that exercise extreme ignorance, and they just say, "Here you go." And then, like, they'll check how much money it has accumulated within the past, like, 24 months, 36 months, and it's not significant compared to what the people in suits are making, right? And so, like, I don't know, we can agree to disagree on who's really the victim.
Yeah.
I just hope this is an educational experience for the people that have lost, and they're going to get their money back. I mean, they are. Well, the hedge funds people are.
No, I
They are.
mean that money's gone. You lose money in the marketplace. There's no such thing as safe money in a 401k, and everyone knows that, but it's the assumption is that small trades over time and safe bets are made because people have a fiduciary responsibility to try to make you money.
That money's gone from the hedge fund managers and the people that put their trust in, right? But money, currency is energy that is travels, right? And so it's in the pockets of these people that are gambling, right? This speculation, and let's get that demand. So the money just transferred.
Yeah, and I'm talking about 401k money mostly.
Oh, okay.
Pensions are, sorry, I'm talking to GZB. I'm talking about 401k money. Pensions are probably have more rules about them. But 401ks definitely are put into funds that are controlled by, anyone's. And that's the majority of savings vehicles for people in the US. I don't know
Becoming a
about
millionaire is not that hard either. GZB, millionaire?
yeah.
Hmm.
It's not that hard to become a millionaire, but I haven't got the time to do it yet. No.
Yeah.
Maybe he is a millionaire. He can send us some money. We got to set up a Patreon account so we can get our millionaire buddy to pay into it. Just kidding.
On a different note,
anyways, yeah,
I've been coding as much as I can. And, I made hella progress, but I'm still not done. But I coded up the backend services for Courier Canceled, and so that appears to work. In which it looks for another courier and then gives up if there's no couriers available. Now you got to integrate that into the courier app. I'm reflecting it in the customer app. There's some cosmetic issues that I need to manage in the customer application, courier application. I need to wire that up to the backend services. And then after that, I need to implement courier payout, which I wrote the backend services for, or most of the structure for it, but now I have to implement UI.
You're like really garbled still. Your internet must be crap today.
How do I test my internet speed? I just Google internet speed test. You can't hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're just really, really garbled.
I'm going to, I don't know if I can hop out and just jump back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were to leave and click on that, click on the link again, would it let you back in?
My internet speed says 230 download. I guess I'm supposed to be looking at upload.
Yeah, upload's what you'd care about.
It says 0.10 megabits per second. That's not good, is it?
0.10?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty awful. What do I have? You running the Google or Ookla one? She'll probably run out of the same one.
I'm running Google.
All right, I'll run Google. So I have download is 250 megabits. Let's see. Come on. I don't need a test download anymore. Upload. Come on, upload. Go. My upload's not even running. I don't know what the deal is. I'll run Nucleus. That one's always easy or good.
I don't know what to do with that. Resetting my, taking a minutes, and then creating a new session. Did it just start? It's not like that since the beginning.
It's been mostly like that from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, GZB's got the down low for us. It's been very laggy all day. Yeah, I'm getting like 250 uploads, so you're I can see why you're getting a lot of lag. If you're getting 0.1, that's like 56K speed, man.
I don't know what to do. I could turn off Wi-Fi on my phone, disconnect the Wi-Fi on my phone. I don't know if other people are uploading videos while I'm trying to do a mastermind session. If they did, it wouldn't do that much, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Did you end up going with your buildings internet?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I didn't like sharing internet back when I had the option, because it's like you don't know what other people are doing with that connection.
And now that you mentioned it, they did leave me a voicemail telling me to call them back because there is a change in my service.
We've dropped your internet connection to 0.1 megabits upload because you've been streaming too much.
Yeah, I guess I'll run a test.
Why don't you try turning your video off? Maybe that would be enough to give you enough bandwidth just for your audio to come through.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2. My name is Scott Dog.
Yeah, you still sound like a robot.
Nah. Is it continuing?
I don't know. If you want, we could try resetting the connection or just call it good for the day. It's up to you. I mean, I'm good for another 35 minutes or so. So
yeah, maybe another 10 minutes, and then we'll probably call it off. Yeah. So I relay my status in regards to the software. I'm considering buying a book on chaos engineering. You got really good reviews. It's called Chaos Engineering: System Resiliency in Practice. I think I have some ideas to bulletproof my services, continue to break and apply different models to it. So business models is every other business models, licensing out the software for mom and pop mobile order fulfillment. So that's it.
cool. Yeah, you said it was Chaos Engineering the name of the book?
It's called Chaos Engineering: System Resiliency Practice.
Oh, it's an O'Reilly book? Yeah. I wonder what the meaning of the animal on the front of that one is.
I didn't know they had meanings.
Or the meaning, rather. I think they might have meaning. I don't know.
It looks like those weird things in South America. on Animal Planet. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of animal that is. It's got to be like a monkey of some sort, but
Yeah.
or like a lemur or whatever.
The ones I see, they have like red mins. Is it Maine or Maine? I think it's Maine.
Maine. Yeah, I think it's Maine.
Anyway, I was terrified this book and finding time to read it. And yeah, I kind of want to get away from UI development and just work on building like Skynet systems. And that's it.
Yeah, I think it's a much, I don't know, building UIs seems like a fairly frustrating problem because you're dealing with side effects all the time. It's hard to really write those to be solid, I think. I don't know. But back-end development is simpler in some ways and then more engaging mentally sometimes too. So probably like it. Plus, there's lots of moolah, and if you want to get into DevOps type stuff.
I think the industry is still having a hard time defining what DevOps is. So, like recruiters define DevOps as Azure or AWS.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like Agile. It started with a concept, and then turned into a product, or like they tried to put a box around it so that they could sell it, and that's where everything.
Yeah. So, my understanding is it's a set of practices or disciplines, but like staffing agencies, like no, it's cloud computing. How many years of Azure do you have? How many years of AWS do you have? I'm like, okay. So, like, I mean, you're a full-time employee, but working as a contractor is like, it's just so overloaded. And I think it's so similar how butchered and overloaded it gets. It is very reminiscent of Agile.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for these DevOps coaches to come in that don't write code at all, never wrote code, and tell IT people or software developers how they're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole, my understanding is just that the whole concept of DevOps is purely just that you take the walls between developers and operations down, because it used to be like developers do their work and they pass it off to operations, and the operations keeps the site running and stuff like that. But developers are done. They've written the code. They go home, and it's that total ownership idea. I think is maybe a better way of framing it, in that you own not only the code, but you own the release of that code, and should be held responsible for if they're not held responsible, but responsible for solving it if there are issues after deploy, when it gets out in the wild, and not just functional issues, but issues with performance and reliability and all that kind of stuff. So
hi Gambler.
But yeah, it's definitely taken a turn to, like, from a philosophy of how to write, do software development and release code, to being like titles and departments and all that kind of stuff. So, because recruiters got to put a box around it so that they can sell it. Yeah, or any contractors too, and I shouldn't just say recruiters. So, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of, I don't know about you, but I'm not a huge fan of operations work anyways. Like, I care about the application and that it's running well. I feel like I'm rarely in the position to get to have all of the information I need to actually solve problems, like operations problems. But I don't know. I almost feel too like having a little, like there's a little bit, if you have up, um, you know, um, access to do all that stuff, you might be less careful about what you put out there in the wild. So
I've only worked at one spot um, where visibly they looked like they were masters of data. Like they would have like 3 to 4 different monitors. They had their own dedicated room, and like it was like it was 3 of them, but it was like I think one was like a journeyman, right? But it was 2 of them that were like the sys admins, and like I feel like they had so much respect and clout. And I mean, I worked for a startup. It's actually called Ego View Technologies over in Seattle. Let me see what they're up to. They would fly at the time. They would fly planes over an area, and using software, they would be able to get the dimensions of rooftops and walls. And instead of contractors climbing up on ladders with tape measures and measuring the dimensions of structures for insurance companies, this company learned how to automate that process on a ladder and a contractor and generate quotes. And so, but it's just admins were like on point, and it seemed like they knew so much about how to resolve issues, like server issues and stuff. It's like a completely different domain for me. Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now.
So they would like call in air support basically, like I need to get a roof dimension on whatever, and the planes come in.
No, they would between Google Maps and like 1 or 2 other sources, they would already have like a store of images for I don't know areas in the United States, and they would just run those images through the software. I assume that those images were tagged with the elevation height, and then they would run the height that those pictures were taken from with the pictures or images themselves, run it through some algorithms, and come out with the dimensions. And they would have some technicians in the Philippines like trace the edges, like the walls and all that other stuff of these structures, to help the software generate a quote by identifying the edges, right?
Dang, that's some next level stuff.
Well, this was 10 years ago.
Yeah, wow. That was some next level stuff 10 years ago, but they're really next level stuff then.
Yeah, that's when I lived out in the Philippines.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is their website.
Eagle View. Not a paid employee spokesperson. Wow, that's really cool.
Have you learned anything new at your job? Any
New
paradigms? Anything?
Not yet. We're kind of ramping up, so it's been a little slow in that regards, but I'm excited about what the company is and what they're doing. We had all hands on yesterday where they talked about the company strategy and stuff like that, and it was one of the more refreshing talks by a CEO I've ever had. So like it's I landed in a good spot, I think, for being a full-time employee at a place. Like I don't feel like I'm just in it, being a cog for someone else's machine.
Yeah.
Like it has a different feel to the atmosphere there, and it's probably because they're still like technically in that startup phase or whatever, where they're, somebody else who wasn't there when the company started is taking over. Not like that. Seems like once you get into like professional CEOs coming in and stuff like that, there are also founders. Companies tend to lose a little bit, but I think that the culture at this place is, and that hasn't happened at this place, but I think the culture at the place is solid enough where it could survive that. So it's like, I don't know. I'm really excited about what we're doing and being a part of what we're doing for the people that we're servicing. So, yeah, it's an odd feeling when you actually care about the subject matter of your work, or like the people that are affected by your work, more than just like you have a personal interest in it, more than just you're interested in making sure that you help people in general. So,
do they use any modern languages, or they're just doing C# and JavaScript?
the C# and I guess some of the teams use Go. There has been some look at using some F# and stuff like that. I guess internally, I haven't seen that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if, along the lines they wouldn't move that direction. They seem to be, open to whatever, solutions are the best and gets the job done. So I don't feel like if I were to really push to get a move towards functional languages, that it would be met with resistance in terms of like just like, no, we can't do that because of XYZ, or just no. Like it feels like it would take a real consideration and possibly allow some experimentation. So
I wonder how Java gained adoption. Like, what was different? Like, can you imagine like a C++ shop saying, no, we don't do cutting edge stuff, right? Well, stick to our COBOL or C++. Like, I wonder, like, is it just the same thing where it's always like various tiers of adopters? Like, how long did it take for Java to like gain massive adoption? I feel like it did in like 90, like in 98. I feel like it was just like the industry standard for building systems, for building software. I don't remember it being like a Clojure or a Scala or a Elixir or F#, where like Java was an elitist language, and then it took another 15 years for it to be accepted.
well, I think, I might be wrong here, but if you look at the there's three things probably that led to that. Well, two things really, and if you take the road, one of them is being that it was probably one of the first widely adopted languages that did garbage collection. I might be wrong on that. But if you're coming from like a C++, which there was a lot of that going on, and then suddenly you don't have to worry about garbage collection and having that, like, there's a selling proposition for you. But I think the bigger thing was that it was one of the first big open source free tools that you could get. And because of that, colleges adopted it as the like starting language outside of C and C++ or whatnot. So Java was taught a lot at colleges, and that led to, if you learn it at colleges, you get wide adoption after that. People just do startups and stuff like that, and they just, because they learned it in college, they do Java, and it just slowly takes storm. I think you're seeing the same thing with Python, though.
Yeah.
Python is taught at colleges now because it's an easy language to learn. It's a very simple, but it's got a lot of power behind it. And if you look at the adoption of Python between that and what's happened with big data and all that, Python's just like its growth went. But it's the same thing. JavaScript is only popular because it was the only option for scripting on the web. Like it has an in. I don't know if functional languages have found their footing yet. If you could get it taught at the colleges as like a useful language, you'd start to see broad adoption of it, I guarantee. But until then, it's going to just remain niche. Well, except for in the other problem is with like, so stuff like Scala and this, like the only place you can start to see the real benefits of that is when you're doing larger system like development. Like you can see it in smaller, things, but if you already are being taught these other languages, you can get by with those. But where you gain the value is in, these large distributed systems. And that's hard to replicate unless you're being paid to do it for a big company. Like you can't, like, how do you teach that stuff at like a college level? I don't know how you do that. Or how do you just learn it on your own? Like I'd like to learn Kafka, and I can probably learn the basics, but to actually learn it, you need to have an application of it that's going to meet real problems. I think that's true of anything, I suppose. So,
do people still go to universities and major in computer science?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's the kind of the script. And there's still a lot of companies out there that are looking for college graduates where you have to have a degree. It's just part of the requirement.
Not a boot camp?
Well, yeah, some companies accept boot camps. They tend to be more progressive companies, but not everyone wants that. So like my former employer, DigiKey, they had a requirement that you had a college degree, and that's because they set that standard at one time, and then they because of their ISO standards, they really can't break it. Like they could change that standard and say we're willing to accept people out of that don't have a 4-year degree, but they just haven't done it. And I think that in their minds, what they think is that, well, if you've gone through the rigors of a collegiate system, that's like accredited and known, that you've at least done a baseline proof that you're willing to learn and can excel. And they have it just not just that you have a degree, but you have to have at least, I think it was at least a 3.5 GPA. So at least a B. Yeah. So, I mean, it was like you have to have gone to school and done well at school, or at least well enough at school. So, but I think there is just, I mean, what you're doing is you're hedging. So I guess maybe somebody on GitHub could start falsifying a bunch of college degrees and just tank that market. So just kidding. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you get more functional languages adopted without getting it taught in schools. Like I don't even think that wasn't even presented when I was in school as a thing. It's definitely not going to be presented in boot camps.
When I was in school, the core language was Java, so your data structures and algorithms was in Java. That's like the class that weeds out.
Yeah.
Right. But I had to take it twice. But they also, there was also like a course for like programming languages. I don't know what the actual name of it was, but you spent like each week or a couple weeks during the semester you get introduced to a different programming language, and so there it was a Lisp language. I'm not sure what dialect of Lisp. We did C sharp. We did C++. I don't understand why colleges don't teach closure, especially when it comes to like data structures and algorithms. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't think a college degree. I just don't think. I mean, it took me like 6 years. Um, I did 3 years for my associates, and I did another 3 years for my bachelor's. And I just don't think that 4 to 6 years to get a bachelor's degree in computer science is worth it. I really don't.
Yeah,
Why?
with boot camps and stuff today and the options, like I think you're still gonna have an easier time with the degree, but I don't think that it's like you said, it's probably not worth it. And I've said that too. I think I had a podcast interview maybe 3 years ago now, and they asked you like, what would you do differently? And I said I'd probably skip the degree and just go right to like a boot camp or something and just start learning it, because it's like you don't necessarily need a degree right now to get a job. So,
Yeah. And I mean, like outside of the college experience, like I didn't go to I didn't go to like a real university to like what you see on the movies with keg parties and all that stuff. I never experienced that because I was poor. Um, that's the only thing I think maybe worth investing, right? So you can have relationships that last, hopefully. But outside of that, it's like you just take a whole bunch of classes that you don't. I mean, you're more rounded. I mean, I took like. I mean, you take a couple of history classes. I did cinema. Like you're more rounded, right? But is it really worth the money and years of your life?
maybe. I mean, I don't know if it's worth going into lots of debt over. That's a key point. Like, let's say you take debt out of the situation, and it's just the process of learning for the 4 years, and it's not just learning though. It's the process of discovery about yourself too. A lot of people get out of high school and have no idea what they want to do, what they want to be involved in. So there's a buffer of 4 years where you go out on your own, and you're plunged into various you know disciplines and various streams of thought, and you meet different people, and so there's at least coming from that perspective, there is some value there as long as you're not going into huge amount of debts to do it. um
Yeah,
I think that colleges, like, to be I don't know, to be like, there seems to be a lot of waste at college campuses when you get down to it. Like, there's teachers, right? And you have to pay them. And then there's facilities that they don't have to be like these nice, fancy, big, humongous, like super great, like environmentally blah blah blah. They could be literally like a box with rooms in it. Like, they don't need to be super special for you to get someone to teach. Like, if you took those two and you just focused on provide the facilities and provide the teachers, like, I don't think it would cost nearly as much as it costs. Like,
yeah.
I don't like, if you get a group of, X many kids and you're paying teachers, you know, what they're worth or whatever, yeah, it's odd.
These so Geller says doing a master's degree for me was mostly about challenging myself and work on things I'm interested in for a while more. Yeah, I think a master's degree in software engineering is worthless. Like, that sounds very strong, what I said, but like, unless it's really for you, like, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's just better to get a PhD than to just have a master's, right?
Well, you don't want to get a PhD unless you're going to be a professor, though, or you're trying to get into research.
I was going to say like Intel,
Because you can get overqualified for something. Like a PhD in computer science would knock you out from most regular jobs, even if you're willing to take it. Like it's not great. Master's degree, what I understood about the only time that it's relevant is like my first job. They talked about getting a master's degree would increase your salary cap. It was basically what they said to me. Like that's why you would do it. The thing is, the degree that I could have gotten for a master's degree in computer or software engineering, because I started on one, was so awful. Like I would have read the books and that's it. And I have no idea, because the feedback wasn't there from the professors. They were just in it for the cash grab, because it was like an online thing. Like they didn't teach the class. They just said, here's the book, take the tests. Everything was done. I got an A, and it was like, did I learn anything? I don't know, because I never got any sort of feedback whatsoever about what I did right and wrong. Like I had to have done something wrong, but I had no idea what it was. So I quit that program because it just wasn't strenuous at all. It wasn't challenging at all. So like I think most of the time for these, like if you're getting a degree in software engineering, it's better just to live the experience, I guess.
I think boot camps are going to, based on what you said earlier about the unnecessary, what's the word I'm looking for, aesthetics of a university. I feel like boot camps are going to have their own basketball teams, football teams, to pay for people's educations and drive down the costs. So,
no, they'll do esports teams eventually. You'll see.
There you go.
No, like that won't work when it's hard to build up it's hard to build up a fan base and stuff when you're only in it for like 3 weeks. 4 years, you can build a love for your school's mascot and teams. I didn't, but yeah. But I know a lot of people who go to homecoming at their college because I don't know. A lot of people in the school I went to really have a passion for their hockey team. Yeah. I don't know. So.
Well, I don't have too much to add. I got to call my internet company to figure. Maybe that's why I kept on getting killed in Call of Duty yesterday, because I was getting murked. And I'm like, why do I keep getting killed this easily? So maybe it's my upload speed.
I should get you playing some League of Legends sometime.
I'll try, but I feel like it's probably going to take a week for me to learn it.
Oh, it takes longer than a week, man. It takes it to get decent. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're naturally gifted at games. I've played it for like 10 years on and off, and I'm still just crap at it. So it's a really tough game. We should do that. We should do that evening mastermind with a bottle thing sometime, though.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
I should have you watch some pro League of Legends, and you can comment on it while we're having a beer.
Yeah, we're gonna get a bottle. We're gonna do some bourbon or something. But
yeah,
Gamblor, I'm stepping out. What would it like to go to a university outside of the United States? They probably don't have fraternities and keg parties and date rape scandals and all that other stuff.
Jeez. I don't think you must be going to a different school than I. Like we didn't have all that either. Small. I think we were even a dry campus, so you have to go off campus to drink.
Nah, I went to school during the daytime, worked at night, and I would get pissed when I would watch like MTV Spring Break. I would get so upset. I'm like, these trust fund people. I just remember like working at Radio Shack and just watching Spring Break as I was like, I don't know, trying to find resistors and speaker wire for people. I was just be upset. Why do they get to ball out, have orgies in Cancun, and I have to work? So
Yeah, I had the same feeling about college, but I didn't do the traditional track either. I was married, and we had an apartment outside, and I worked. At least for most of it, I worked full time in addition to going. So, or at least, yeah,
you were married while you were in college?
yeah. I
Oh,
was married all throughout. So I've been married. Will be 16 years this year.
wow.
So we met in high school and got married in 2005. Uh, and I think was that the first year we went to college? Yeah. So it would have been between our freshman and junior year in college, or sorry, freshman and sophomore years in college. So, um, yeah, but it's different though. It's weird when you're going through that experience and like, yeah, if you're like single and you go to college and you don't have to have an apartment, you can live in the dorms and you've got all of your stuff paid for by your
Yeah.
family because they saved for you for college. Like it's probably a totally different experience than you're working or you're going to college and then like every once in a while you might to get to have a party or whatever at your apartment.
No, I took out a loan, a college loan, to to live in a dorm because I knew that it would be borderline impossible for me to pay rent on my own and go to college and go to work. So strategically, I was like, I need somewhere to live. I need a hot shower. So I just used the college dorm as a way to accomplish that.
Yeah, I think we actually paid less for our apartment than we did if we were to live on campus. Like that's how crazy it's gotten with college campuses. Like it should be the cheapest living possible in a college dorm, but it's actually more expensive than just getting an apartment offsite. Um, yeah, some colleges game it though, and they make you have your first year on campus. That's why I didn't go to. I was originally going to go to North Dakota State University, and they had that rule, and I said no, I'm not going to do that. So I skipped it entirely, and I went to another school.
North Dakota. Man, that must. In some states you just never hear about. Like they never make the news. It's not like California or Florida.
Yeah, North Dakota State University is a pretty good
Any
engineering
reservation?
school. It's got a pretty good reputation for engineering and stuff, and it's in Fargo, and Fargo is a nice city, um, I think. Um, but yeah, it's kind of one of the more like one of the better state universities in the region for engineering disciplines and stuff. They do make the news a little bit. Their football team is like the top of what the second, I don't know, second there's like tiers of NCAA and they're like in the second tier, but they're at the top of it or something. So they win a lot of championships. Um, but yeah, I don't know. All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm tapping out.
yep.
It's been real.
Yeah.
See you.
See you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See you again, Laura. It's been real. Take care.